And some quick stats. I think this is awesome. 33rd session, 48 guest speakers, 47 past members, and 1,200 plus members on LinkedIn and counting. So if you hear of anybody that is struggling to find a role and needs some boost of confidence, bring them along, because we'd rather be a community than for somebody to be alone. Okay, so is Katherine available?
Hi.
Katherine, thank you. Jimmy, please let us know when recording is starting. Awesome. So, hi, Katherine. I would like to introduce Katherine Kleyman. You are our first guest speaker. She is in, well, actually, please, I'm going to pass it on before I mess up your introduction. Please let us know where you're calling from and let us know your profession and what your current status is right now. What are you involved in?
Yeah, hi. My name is Katherine. I am an employment attorney in both California and New York. I'm currently in New York right now. I do a lot of advocacy work on LinkedIn. So this is, and I was reached out to have a discussion with you guys about employee rights. I do a lot of advocacy work regarding like HR and what to do when you are in a situation where you're either about to be terminated or you have to report something regarding wrongful, adverse actions against you. So I just kind of give people guidance regarding what to do when you have a bad boss, bad manager, dealing with harassment. And overall, other than like doing the, posts on LinkedIn, I have many cases that I litigate. And yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. And have you been quite busy? Because in the past 2 years, we've had so many layoffs, so many different industries, not just, I came from tech, but overall, like what is, I don't know, without any names or anything like that, but what's like one of the top topics that you're currently involved or that you've seen? And any guidance or any suggestions or opinions or advice that you could provide us?
Well, I'm definitely busy. I actually, several years ago, I used to be on the other side. So I was in-house counsel representing a security company who dealt with tech. And I couldn't deal with it anymore just because I felt like when I was being stifled, but also I wasn't doing the advocacy. I was in the role of of silencing people's voices or just making sure everything's compliant, but in a way that does not, one, I didn't see it really benefiting the company. We're just protecting the CEOs. And overall, it just was not, I knew I had to change sides. So I did. And right now I do a lot of advocacy work, like retaliation. I do a lot of retaliation cases, sexual harassment. Those are my main two. Retaliation meaning like whistleblowing. So for instance, um, an employee sees safety violations or sees their colleague being sexually harassed or they see fraud, and in good faith effort they come to their manager and be like, hey, like I just want to let you know this is happening and like let's take care of it, kind of looking for the best interest of the company. Well, the company, and these are my cases, they see it as oh my god, this person knows too much, and or they see our weakness, and or they're trying to conceal information for their investors. Or if somebody's being sexually harassed and they report it, this person, I have situations where they call the person too nosy or not a cultural fit. That's my favorite. And they terminate them. And those are the type of cases I take to make them whole, because that is a violation in both federal law and state law. So a lot of the guidance I've been doing recently, and which now I'm known on LinkedIn for, is how to deal with HR. HR is not your friend. It is not it's not your career coach. A lot of people, especially the younger generation of even like their first job, they think HR is there to support them and give them guidance related to bad managers or staff or being given, improper work or being harassed or, reporting actual violations. And, everyone, especially when it comes to their first job or even not their first job, like a job with a bad culture, they go to HR, they report it in good faith, and they start telling them too much. They start acting like the HR makes it feel like they're your confidant, but in reality, they're using everything against you. So in a lot of my cases, in a lot of situations, you go to HR with good faith, and then they take like the things that you said to them and use it against you. And so I guess when it comes to advice here, I don't know. I assume there's people like there's entrepreneurs, there's people who are looking for roles, there are people who are in jobs or toxic workplace environments. So usually there is HR involved, and I don't care how amazing the company is. You tell them, think of them kind of like the police. If you talk to them, just provide them notice. Don't give them any too much information because their little job is to protect the company from you. And it's even if they're your friend, even if I've had situations where I had two people, one was a consultant, the other one was in HR. They were best friends, and after a certain situation they're no longer best friends. But that's the role. I mean, that's why they're getting money. And you just use them for the position of notice. And if you are in a situation where you have to report a violation, especially related to sexual harassment, wage, retaliation, even bullying, I feel that everyone should have the opportunity and right to report. People still are hesitant, but if you do it, you just have to understand that you got to play the game. I mean, you're gonna report X, Y, and Z, and they're gonna be like, we're gonna take this really seriously. Thank you so much for reporting this. And if you do not send a follow up response, or if you don't have it in writing, they'll take everything you said and either make things up or use it against you. They are in a position of defense, even psychologically. So, when you have these discussions, you have to send a follow up email saying, this is what was discussed. And because writing, especially with as lawyers or in anything, that's evidence. And make sure you use it. I know when you have to report something, it could feel traumatic or overwhelming. People don't take these very necessary steps to protect themselves, and only will take 5 minutes. You could even pre-write the email even before you have the discussion. So, like, maybe make yourself a template so when you have a discussion, you just put in the details and send it over. It's really important. And then, when you are explaining it, you dates, be clear with your facts, and then following, reporting or something, or you feel you're being retaliated, start documenting everything. You have an email with management that starts acting really weird towards you, start saying that you're not a part of the culture, or start saying that you're a troublemaker. I've heard so many situations. It doesn't even have to be that serious. You start feeling strange vibes. um, every conversation you have with them, you say, hi, you said this to me, I said this to you, you said this to me, and then right at the end, right, I'm documenting this, or just want to let you know to make sure that we're both aligned in the conversation going forward.
I like to use meeting notes as my own indirect way of capturing what's been going on, because they just see it as meeting notes. I'm using it as backup.
Awesome.
And then also the fact that we always wait until something seems weird. However, taking notes on what your wins and what has been working out is just as good, because if something gets weird, then you have that as backup of like the past 10 months, everything was great. And then for whatever reason, this one thing happened. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, absolutely. I think, especially when I was on the other side dealing with compliance, I mean, ideally, yes, we would want to, at the end of our day, write our goal, our, things that we've accomplished, all our projects, all the amount of money we made the company, or writing everything down. However, by the end of the day, a lot of people, we want to do these things, especially just to remind ourselves of how great we are. We're tired, we don't do it. But I think it still should be something, if people are very disciplined, even just at the end of the week, to write what things that they've accomplished. That's great. But the purpose of that is just to, one, remind yourself that you're great, and two, potentially use it to get another job, or negotiate you know more money in the company. But when it comes to in those cases, like, documentation is everything. So that's one way of using it, just to remind the company, this is what I'm doing. And then but in situations where things get weird, or you report something, and I'm coming from a position of, like, a lawyer. People don't call me because they're having a great time, or they're usually call me to they're in the middle of something, or they want to be prepared. And just my biggest advice is, yeah, just document, like, everything. And even if there might not be a cause of action, even though you're documenting everything and creating this paper trail of, if they're acting shady, or they're saying something but doing something else, but you have everything in email, you can more likely than not negotiate a very good severance agreement, because there's evidence, there's a paper trail of bad behavior, or weird behavior, or inconsistent behavior, or that this company's not aligned with their missions that they've indicated in their policy book. And they want you want to hire a severance agreement for the purposes of making sure everybody's reputation is protected, and kind of using it as leverage. So
Let me there, because we do have questions, and I know that it'll be continuing to,
yes.
more of what you're speaking, but let's speak with Justin. Thomas, you had your hand up. Where are you? Oh, there you are. You
Well,
may.
I was trying to say that she made a good point. Sorry about that.
Oh,
Take it
okay.
back.
So we'll go to Mark Phillip.
Yes.
Mark,
Thank
you
you.